prior to that, and the judge opened up they called the case. The judge opened up his folder and said, I don't understand any of this. Case dismissed. So, I mean, that's what it is, and that's what the one Supreme Court is the living man and woman, because their courts are dead. And if you come in as the living energy in the source, folks, you are the court. And some of these folks understand this.
Now, some of them do, some of them don't. Let me have you hypothesize. Let's assume the worst, fellas. Let's assume in our strategy, when the time comes, which is early on, to approach the military with the fully fulfilled prescription, and let's say they simply don't fulfill their part of the bargain. How do you see that, Regan? What kind of, do you view the military as even being necessary to what we're doing, or do you view the very fact of assembling, forming de jure grand juries, and organizing as the well-regulated guardians of the free republic a victory in and of itself?
The military would just be a bonus, in my opinion. In case you've got somebody that's totally rogue. You might have to send the military in to slap their hand, but I don't think the military is even a necessity here, as long as we don't get plumb out of hand. I mean, if we start going back and bringing up issues where a police officer gave your daughter a speeding ticket 2 years ago and treated you like shit in court and all that, and, we were out for vengeful undertakings, then it's going to backfire. But as long as we act like grown-ups and forgive, anything past and basically try to correct what's ahead of us, I think it'll take care of itself.
And, Tom, how do you feel about that? Once we're properly organized, basically sanctioned as the guardians, and we encounter a situation without military support, what is your feeling about that, Tom?
I'm in complete agreement
on that.
I'm in complete agreement with Reagan. It's not their job. What they do recognize is this: they are under civilian authority. They just have never heard from us. In other words, the boss has never told them what to do. These people work for us. They are our families. They are our brothers and our sisters. They would like to hear from us, because the only people they've been hearing from is the corporations. Now, look, there's things that many of the listeners may not be aware of, but high-ranking military officers have been going into court to challenge the supposed commander-in-chief. Does he have any lawful authority? Excuse me, we're not sure of that, and we're not going to obey orders unless we can have some substantiation to that. Now, DOD has reversed orders to go to the Middle East within 24 hours by bringing those court cases up. Some of the people that are involved in that are Davy Kidd and I won't pronounce her name properly, but an attorney out in California has brought hundreds of military officers in California to the courts on that issue alone. And it's a problem for the military, and it's a problem for us. These are our brothers and sisters. We're supporting them as much as they support us. I don't think that we need their support, but we need to know, they need to know, when they're obeying lawful orders. And that's a difference and a distinction we have to put out there. Is there lawful orders and is there lawful authority that's come down from these corporations? When we live with the delusion that a corporation is equal to a man, that's the biggest spin doctor I've ever heard in my life. There is no corporation, as Reagan so eloquently put, that's not dead. It's a legal fiction of the mind, the evil imagination of men, and there is no way in God's green earth, as it said in the Bible, take a tank of whatever you've been found in the balances and found wanting. There is no way on God's green earth that a corporation equals the weight of a living man or a woman in that courtroom. We are the boss. We are the judge. These people work for us, and they are there for a purpose. We do want the drug dealers off the streets. We do want people who would attack our children and hurt our family members dealt with, and that does require some form of military force. Remember, our local policemen are just military force. And when I say military force, I'm talking about everybody wearing a gun or a badge. The reality is we have many of these people that are just out of whack. I don't, frankly, know what kind of psychological test they're giving a lot of them when they think that playing with tasers is playing with some kind of new toy. These things are lethal devices. There were over 700 people killed last year. with tasers. There's a couple other interesting points I might bring up, but to my understanding, they have quit publishing federal indictment statistics ever since 1988, because in 1988 there were 27,000 indictments filed, and only 17 people were not indicted. And they quit publishing it after that because it's been 100% all the time since. What does that tell you about the grand jury system and the way it's been perverted now? Only a U.S. attorney is bringing in a grand jury, and he's bringing in 12 people who don't want to be there, and they're going to listen to the hearsay of an attorney about the 52 names that they rounded up, and we know, I mean, we watch this on television shows, the coercion, the interrogation techniques, the terror that they put people through just to get names. And then we'll round them all up and bring them into a grand jury where in reality the people never get to appear, they never get to defend, they never get to question their accuser, and out comes a bill of indictment. And we're dealing with what? A commercial crime again, and we don't know what the remedy is, and they won't tell us. Now, if that's not fraud, deception, and crime against humanity, I don't know what else is. If we want to have transparency, as people like Obama want to spout, then let's have some transparency. Let's open the books in that courtroom and see if they're operating in commerce or not. And if they are, of course, the Clearfield Doctrine specifies that any court dealing in commerce is not a court. They're just a corporation. They have no more authority over you than McDonald's Corporation does. So why are you there listening to them? That's exactly the point. Reagan knows that. I know that. You know that. We're just trying to teach everybody else that. Put the fear out of your mind, because your fear is what empowers them. Winston Churchill said it. We don't have anything to fear but fear itself, so get rid of it. Scripture told us the same thing. It's the only thing I know in Scripture repeated multiple times. Matter of fact, 365 times in Scripture it says, "Fear not, for I am with you." If you will act righteously and responsibly, who's behind you? What authority do you have now? The Creator of the universe. I'll take that any day over any institution on earth.
All right, thank you, Tom. Folks, as I said, the general outline for this program was given to us by the military in a pretty high-ranking discussion that was held, a number of discussions actually. And so we expect it to go according to the plan that we've laid out. Now, the document itself, the declaration, is written in Old English text. It looks the part, it feels the part, it sounds the part, it is the part. And if in the event it becomes subject to public scrutiny at the hands of the media or otherwise, it will stand as a shining document because it has been cleansed of the nut job threshold that we are subject to by people who have been in a state of amnesia for 70 or 80 years. The first page is the unanimous declaration of the sovereign people. It is followed by a variety of action, short and sweet documents that utilize the power of the inherent power on the land, the God-given power, the power under the constitutions of the free republics, granted to the de jure grand juries. And every de jure grand jury has authority that at no time can ever be matched or exceeded by any de facto institution. As I said, we are planning to do this behind the scenes. But if the military promises are broken and things don't unfold behind the scenes according to the plan, the de jure grand juries still have the absolute authority by declaration and by historical precedent to exercise their power judiciously according to the oath of office, which is not an oath, by the way, it's a covenant of office taken in the presence of the Lord in front of the state or regional coordinator. The document